Hey, it's Pete, GCI Turf. Probably the biggest asked question, or the most asked question I get all year long, is right after we leave your yard and we've aerated and seeded. The question is, how long do I water, or how much do I water? I get asked that hundreds of times during the fall. So I want to show you a little trick that I learned to taught myself how to water. The trick to grass seed and the trick to getting it to germinate is to keep the seed moist. Well, keeping it moist could mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And what I mean by that is every yard's different, every irrigation system's different, every microclimates are different. There's hard spots, soft spots in dirt, shady areas, full sun areas in dirt. So honestly, I can't answer that question. I have no clue. I can give you a good place to start though. The way I run my irrigation is I will run the rotor heads. And what a rotor head is it pops up out of the ground and it rotates. It may rotate 360 degrees. It may rotate 180 degrees. I don't know. See the rotation on it? So that's how you know it's a rotor head. The other type head is a pop-up head. And what a pop-up head does, it just pops out of the ground and sprays a flat fan mist. Typically, those heads put out twice as much water as a rotor type head, typically. So the trick to seed germination is keeping it moist, and a good place to start is about 4 to 6 minutes per zone 4 times a day. So that's about almost 24 minutes a day. That's a good place to start at. Now, a way to check yourself to make sure you're keeping the seed moist when you come home from work, it's a simple test. Go out in your yard, look for one of the cores that was pulled out of the ground during seeding, and you simply want to take your finger and feel it between your fingers. Feel it if it's moist. Squeeze it. See how it gets a little bit of shape back to it? What you don't want to see is this. When you squeeze it and the dirt's dry. That's what we don't want to see. Dry, moist. This will give you seed germination in a hurry, really quick like. So if you are a non-irrigated yard and your yard's small, please try to water as much as you possibly. I know it's a job, I know it's a lot of work, but please help us out. Get the water on the yard. If you're a non-irrigated yard and it's big and it's just impossible, physically possible to water and keep up with it, then hey, we'll just wait on the weather. 95% of the time, rains come, we have no issues, seed comes up. So it's just going to be a matter of patience, and I hope this helps. I hope it gives you a good starting point. And remember to check your yard at least every other day to make sure it's staying moist. We want to get it moist and keep it moist going all the way into the winter time. Check you later. Trick to seed germination is keeping the grass seed moist. I want to give you a good example of that. So I'm back in town, and what I found is absolutely no surprise to me. Germination. Look at there. See that little baby grass? This grass was put in the ground. This grass seed was put in the ground on Friday. Friday afternoon, it got one shot of water. I set the timer on my irrigation to come on 4 times a day. My particular yard It's full sun, so it's going to dry out a little quicker. So I set it for 10 minutes a zone. So that's 40 minutes a day. Now, before you go out and set your irrigation timer for 40 minutes a day, split up into 4 times each zone, you need to listen. You can't do that because my yard may be different than your yard. My yard may hold water differently. There's no shade to contend with. The ground may not be quite as compacted. So this is why it's important that you go back to what we said earlier and you check. Look at that. They're actually starting to dry out a little bit more. That's because I haven't run the water today. I cut it off for one day to let it dry up just a little bit. So I'm gonna go right back and set that timer and keep going. But this seed was put in the ground on a Friday afternoon. All right, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I came home last night, Wednesday. That's 5 days. I came out here with a flashlight, and there you go. I had germination. So 5 days I've got germination. Now you can see there's still plenty of grass seed left. So I'm gonna continue with this same watering schedule at least for the next week until I get uniform coverage, meaning the majority of this grass seed is germinated. Once that happens, then I will revert back to watering 1 time a day, 30 minutes or so, just to provide that new grass seed with some water. I'm not gonna dare let it dry out. When you let it dry out, that's when the mistake happens. So keep an eye on your grass seed, keep an eye on your yard, keep an eye on the moisture levels on the grass seed, and here's the proof in the pudding. You can have grass seed germinate in 5 days. Thank you.